Hello, 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 everybody. What's up? We are here today. It is, what is it? Tuesday. It's Tuesday at 10 a.m. So where we always are on Tuesday at 10 a.m. In my basement, ready to do some 3D printing. Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, Razor, Marcellus, Marcus? For some reason, I have coffee and energy drink today. I don't know how the hell that happened, but if my heart explodes at some point during the stream, you'll know what happened. Caffeine overload. What's up, Mac? What's up, Bob? What is up, everyone? Today we're gonna do, I guess you could consider it like some exploratory surgery. I've mentioned it a few times over the past few weeks. I've had some problems. I guess I'm gonna preheat this. I've had some problems removing filament from my hot end, and I've had a suspicion for a little while now that something's wrong with my PTFE tube, and I know these do eventually tend to go bad. They're not entirely heat resistant, and they're basically in direct contact with the nozzle inside the extruder assembly. So, what's up, Hallen? Glenn? What's up, Aspie? What is up, everybody? But what we're going to do today, I have some ordered, but it's not here yet, because I would have liked to have it on hand. I actually was completely under the impression that I had a little 6-inch piece extra from my kit, but I was getting everything ready, and I realized that was the little stiffener pieces for the cable assemblies coming out of the extruder piece. So we do not actually have a replacement piece, but I think if it is all effed up, since I do want to put everything back together today so I can do some more printing, we're going to see if we can just like flip the piece. Like if one end is all burnt and effed up, we could just try, yeah, like Leonard just said, we could just try to flip it to get it kind of functioning normally and working for another day or two till my piece gets here. But that's what we're going to do. This is preheating right now. I just had a 12-hour print finish like 3 minutes ago, so that timing worked out just about perfect. It was supposed to be Simplify has an estimated print time, but it's always wrong because that was only supposed to be a 9-hour print and it took 12. So we kind of lucked out there. Now we don't have to spend the first half hour of the stream waiting for a print to finish. But we can come over and take a look at this. These came out nicely. They're of course some more dungeon tiles. This is actually, I can't tell if that's in focus or not. This is actually the entire kind of introductory set for the Rampage system. Focus is the worst. When are they going to invent a camera that focuses like nicely? Anyway, I know that's kind of like weird and glowy looking. That's a little better. But this is actually the entire sample pack from the Rampage system. And it's actually a nice sized little pack, and they give you all this stuff for free. It's kind of crazy. You could actually do your whole dungeon layout with this free sample pack, which is kind of nifty. But we're going to see if we can recreate this problem. It's going to be funny if it just comes out fine today. So we're preheated, right? We're preheated for PLA. I'm going to go to unload filament, and you see it doesn't do anything. It just kind of like grunts, and the filament doesn't move. There, I just did it 3 times. What I end up having to do is put a fair amount of pressure on this, like pulling it up, and do that at the same time. And it's the same deal. That might not be in focus, but it's the same deal where the little plug on the end is like off-centered, and I think it's like grabbing inside of there. So we're going to take a look inside of this thing and see what is up with it. So we're going to let that cool down now that we have the filament out. And I'm actually going to unplug the machine, bring it over here, and start working on it since we're going to have it torn apart for a while. We don't need it plugged in. You know G-code.ws? Not really. I finally have a pro spool holder. Yeah, sort of. It works out okay. It's actually that spool holder that I bought. Like, it was one of the first things I bought. I think I purchased that within like a month of owning the printer. But I never got around to using it. Because I just couldn't quite figure out like how to mount it, or like I'd always planned on mounting it against the wall, but it just didn't work out. It wasn't very convenient because both the sides screwed on, and when you wanted to change filament, you had to screw the side off and stuff. So it was kind of not what I was really looking for. But it just kind of, I don't know. One day I was like, man, I need to use this thing. So I was like sitting there brainstorming on how I could potentially use it. And that just kind of came to mind. And it works quite nicely. It's actually like the, I can't take it down. It's actually screwed up there. But yeah, that center rod I took off and put on the back side of one of the actual sides because it has like feet that stick out, and they normally stick in, but I turned them so they stick out, and they kind of grab the top of that shelf nicely, and I just drilled holes down through the top and screwed them in place. And you can see it just kind of like filament is on there now, and it works out pretty nice. The only thing I really had to do is I had some really big washers, like some 2-inch washers that I put on the inside of that front screw piece so it doesn't like grab onto the thing or whatever. What's up, Justin? What's up, Josh? Any help with PETG? Just some basic things I picked up from my experiences with it. If you have a PEI sheet, make sure you use a glue stick. That stuff will damn near permanently bond to PEI if you're not careful. So make sure you put like a nice layer of glue stick down. Some people recommend you take the fan down to about 20%. I've actually printed with it off and got the best results. I mean, unless you're printing something that has like tight detail on it, I'd just turn the fan, your cooling fan, off. But beyond that, PETG is fairly straightforward to print. Obviously, I'd print a couple small things before you, tear into a large project. Gcode.ws is very precise for calculating print time. No, I've never seen that. I know Simplify has a thing built in, and I know the Prusa software package came with a sort of like print time estimator sort of thing, but I don't honestly remember what it is. Yeah, I don't recall what it is. I don't have the thing on my desktop. For as far as temps, it should say on your roll. Off the top of my head, I think like 240 is pretty normal for PETG. I want to say, I think that's what I was printing at, like 240-ish. But it should say on your roll. And like Marcella said, don't even bother trying to pull your print off until the bed is like cold again. Because that stuff just like sticks really, really well. I'd also do your first layers like really slow. One of the problems I ran into was all the upper layers would bond to each other really well, but the actual first layer and the rest of the print always seemed to not want to bond together. So, yeah. Print your first layer kind of thick and nice and slow. Any difference in print quality with the external holder? Not really. Not that I could see. I know people said before that, you know, the tugging on the filament spool at the top was going to cause problems, but I never had any issues with it, honestly. It might be that I used my little... I always used this thing, because you have your, like, factory Prusa MK2 spool holder things. I always used a 3/4 inch piece of PVC that went through them, which there was almost no resistance on. Even like a brand new, you know, 1 kilogram roll, there was never really much resistance on it. So I don't think the rocking really ever caused me any problems. But I know other people said they had issues with it, but I never really had any issues with it. All right, so this is cooled down. We're going to turn it off, unplug it, and bring it over here. I do love that that we don't have to piss around with filament being mounted up here anymore like this. To move it, we just pick it up and move it. You don't have to worry about that stupid filament holder on top. So first things first, let's get these prints off of here. But these prints came out nice. They bond well. Yeah, I do like these dungeon towels. They're pretty sweet. And this is with 0.2 millimeter layer height with the 0.4 millimeter nozzle. So this is like nothing special as far as you know, like printing them super slow or super carefully to get good results. This is pretty much bog standard print setup. I think this is their recommended print settings, because these are actually for the next video in the Dungeoneering series. I already have all these pieces already. I just wanted to have a nice set to do the actual video, so they're all the same and printed at the settings that the company recommends, instead of the kind of high resolution settings that I did mine on, my rest of them on. Because I know most of you guys know, I tend to print with like a 0.3 millimeter nozzle, and like when I did the dungeon towels for myself, I printed most of those at like 0.1 and 0.15 layer height, depending on what the tile was exactly. And also using different processes for different layer heights. So you can use like a kind of thick layer height on areas that don't matter as far as detail, and then bring it down to like 0.1 for the areas that you want to look nice. The only thing that sucks about printing these are these freaking things. There's little built-in support structures in the files for these like bridged areas, and they break off. And you end up with these things all over the damn place. It gets out of hand. All right, let me bring this over so we know our camera is focused properly. Must still be setting up, huh? Not really. Yeah, we're pretty much going. Yeah, we're pretty much ready to do what we're going to do. I think I'm going to move this light so I don't have a damn shadow. Let me move this quick. All right, that's better. So this isn't really that bad to tear down, honestly. Let's get our camera focus tended to here. Does that look focused? Sorta, kinda. Sorta? Okay. So, let's grab a few tools here and then we'll get started. Camera is sorted. All you really end up needing are a few hex wrenches. I forget what size this is, but this is like the main ball end hex wrench that they provide with the kit. And we'll just start taking this guy apart. This will be the first piece, the fan shroud. Set it aside. The front fan will take off. I think the biggest pain are the 4 screws in the little fan because it's just kind of tedious taking them out. Front fan is off. Actually, in hindsight, I think you can leave the front fan on. Oh, no, we need to get to these screws. Yeah, we're okay. We're not doing extra steps. So next are these damn things. Why does that color look so weird? What the hell is going on here? That orange looks really strange on the camera. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Anyway. The last video was short. Are you being held hostage? No, I've done pre-recorded videos before that were short. Almost all the videos that I do that are recorded are about as concise as a video could be, I would say. Like, if you look at the few tutorials I've done, most of those are only, 2 to 5 minutes, maybe. It's just tough for me to record videos for a couple different reasons. It is a painful process. What's up, Yuval? Is that how you say your name? Buzzglow? Yuval Buzzglow? Buzzaglow? What's up, man? Glad you can make it. I'm so happy I'm stuttering. All right. Yeah, I think this is the worst part, are these freaking screws. And it's such overkill for this tiny little fan. It's funny that big, 40mm fan has 2 screws in it, and this little one has freaking 4. Do you want to do a charity stream for us? Who's us, man? I mean, I'm up for pretty much anything, as long as it's a worthy cause. All right. So there's the little fan detached. And then there's 2 screws on the face here. Glory hole foundation? That doesn't sound like something... I don't know what that is, but... That's either a legitimate charity that's really poorly named, or something that I probably don't want to be involved with. Not in a public way, at least. All right. You see, it's actually not too bad to get in there. not too bad to get in there. Like, we have the extruder basically exposed already. The only tough part is actually getting it out of here. I've never actually taken it the whole way out. I've disassembled it to this point before to check the heat block and stuff. Because there was one point where I thought I might have bent my heat break a few months ago. So I don't know if we need to take the motor off. Have any of you done this before? Do we need to take the whole motor thing off? Like I mean, I probably wouldn't want to be involved with something that's like religious in nature or exclusionary in that sort of way. Yeah, yeah, Justin, yeah, you missed your opportunity for the glory hole talk. All right, so what are the chances we can just kind of wiggle this out of here? It looks like 0. That's kind of like, it looks like it's made to tilt out of there. We've got our thermistor out of the way. Has anybody ripped this thing out of here before? I guess it doesn't hurt to take some of this apart. Let's disassemble it a bit more. It takes a month to get Prusa i3 MK2S home. Logan says just give it a good pull. It looks like it's kind of like the hole up there is elongated to allow you to like tip it out. Yeah, look at that. All right. Let me tighten that bolt back up. Okay, that's what I kind of like by the looks of it. It's what I kind of expected it to how to work. All right, so I've never had this apart. I think you I don't know, do you have to have this heated up to disassemble it at all? Heard a screw drop. Have I considered using a sock? Yeah, I've had socks for a long time. I actually just don't like using them for whatever reason. And I know a lot of people are all about that sock, but they don't fit that great, honestly. When they're brand new, they seem to fit okay, but if you ever need to take it off, like I change nozzles a lot. And it seems like after you've had it on and you take it off for whatever reason, they don't fit very good. And I just worry about them like I had one catch a print. And I just worry about them. And my temp, like if you do a PID tuning, my temp is pretty stable already. So Yeah, I know it's like a little bit of a personal preference thing, but yeah, I don't use the socks anymore. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the bottom piece just unscrews here. Looks like that had some Teflon tape on it or something. Oh, I can tell already that there's nothing wrong with this. I don't know why I was having problems with like binding. It's all shadowy as all hell here. Let's get this focus sorted out. Oh, that actually is in focus. Hot damn. Yeah, there's the end of the PTFE that was down in the extruder. It actually looks fine. I don't know why it was causing me so many problems. I mean, maybe we can trim this. If we trim this lip back a little bit, maybe it was catching on that lip. I'm just like taking an X-Acto and sort of taking that sharp edge off of it. And we want to make sure none of those shavings get down in there because that could cause some problems. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like this piece is fine. But like our filament is pretty obviously catching on something in there. Maybe it's catching on this and it just doesn't really show much evidence of that for whatever reason. All right, we look like we're cleaned out. See now though. I don't know how far should this PTF should we how should we do this, guys? Should I screw this back on and just press the PTFE back down in really hard? I probably should have done, in hindsight, I probably should have done some reading about this, eh? But it doesn't look like anything's out of the ordinary inside of there. I know you guys can't really see, and arguably, or I can't really see either, but nothing in there looks, you know, amiss. I don't know, I'm a little perplexed. I was really expecting something to be off in there. But by the looks of it, everything is fine. I don't know if it's I don't know, maybe it's something, maybe it's the joint between the nozzle and the heat break that the filament is actually catching on. Anybody have any opinions on the matter? Don't move the heat break like that. Oh, I'm not. The wires are actually moving pretty freely. I haven't had the zip tie attached for a while now, so I'm not really like torquing them or anything. What did you miss? Day job got in the way. Same question again there, man. It takes a month to get a Prusa i3 MK2S home. Do you know anything about it? I don't honestly know exactly what you're asking there. As far as like the wait time, I know you just have to wait. There's really nothing that's going to get your printer there sooner. Some people do occasionally get them shipped slightly before the expected time. So yeah, guys, I guess we're just going to put this end that we trimmed in here and cleaned up a little bit back down in there. And yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I was kind of expecting something other than what we saw here. Just make sure this is smooth on the end so we don't catch on anything. But I do know that we can't separate the nozzle and stuff without it being heated, so can't really do a whole lot on that front. So I'm just making sure that's pressed down in there good. And I guess we're going to stick it back in unless anybody else has any suggestions. So yeah, I guess we're going to ease this back up in here. Let me move this so I can see. Oh, that actually went in. I was expecting it to be a little awkward to get back in, but that went in way easier than it came out. None of our wires are under tension or anything. Everything looks good. We'll go ahead and stick our thermistor back in. As you can see here. Go ahead and we eased it back in there. It actually went in pretty easy, which kind of surprised me. We could try autofocus. Autofocus never works. There we go. We got it set. So yeah, you can see we got it back in there. Slid our thermistor back in. And yeah, there's nothing too complicated about the reassembly. There's a couple things as far as like cable management. Like you want to make sure your stepper motor wires are eased back in there. Some of that stuff. But you just have to basically take a look at how everything is arranged when you tear it apart and make sure you kind of put it back how you found it. The first time I did this, I didn't... It was either this fan wire or the stepper wire I didn't have in the right place, and it caused a little bit of a problem, but for the most part, it's not too bad. And looking at these screws, they are all the same length, except one of them, and I don't know where that one went. We'll stick that one in here. Maybe this is the special one. Looks like it was. I don't feel like we did anything, guys. I don't feel like we did anything. Like I said, maybe it's the case that the nozzle and the heat break aren't really lining up like they should be. But I don't know, honestly. All right, now here's the part that sucks the most. Wish I had a little power driver. Are these four freaking things here? Oh, this other one's a little bit longer too. I bet you that goes in here. I bet you that's these two are a little bit longer. Hey, thanks for subbing, guys. I see 2 people just subbed. Very cool, dudes. This stream is probably going to be a little less eventful than... I know that one does go in there. We never took that out of the thing. I wonder where the slightly longer one goes. Shit. I don't know why I was thinking they were all the same length. Maybe that one goes up here. Yeah, it almost has to be that one. Is there enough thermal compound on the thread? There looked to be. There was still a fairly reasonable amount still on there. All right, so just these 3 left. These bastards. Like I said, I think this is the toughest part of doing this is these 4 little dudes here. You guys don't need to watch that. You don't need to watch my knuckles. But yeah, has anyone else had this problem? I can't see the screen. My stuff's all messed up. Was there damage? No, there actually wasn't any visible damage on it. I mean, I did trim, like basically I flared the inside a little bit, so if it was catching there, you know, maybe it'll prevent it, but after seeing, I mean, it looked like it was in really good shape. I'm kind of suspecting now that maybe it's a slight misalignment between the nozzle itself and the heat break somehow, maybe? Logical waste. Yeah, I need to do the Noctua fan, or Noctua, however the hell you say that. That seems like a solid upgrade. Because this little fan is kind of surprisingly noisy. For the size it is. Oh, it's so tedious putting these screws in. Sean Mower, extruding a few millimeters. I do end up doing that because the remove filament kind of auto system fails. But the thing is I went for months with like for months the normal system worked, and for the vast majority of people, like the normal system works where you don't have to manually do anything, you just remove filament. It's just been the last few weeks that I've had this problem, which is why I kind of thought like something was wrong. All right, well, at least that isn't too bad to tear apart. All right, and the last part is this little shroud thing. Oh, it looks like it's your best to not tighten this fan up until you have a little shroud thing in place. Yeah, there we go. But I've wanted to redesign this little shroud for a long time to help direct the airflow of this cooling fan a little more evenly down across the print. I mean, it works okay as is, but I think there's some slightly better designs out there that people have come up with. Okay, now you guys were saying, I forget exactly, was it like 13 millimeters? Because it could be these being over tightened, but I don't think so. I don't really think I've over tightened them. Again, like nothing has really changed about the way I do anything or like how tight these things end up being. I think it was like 13 millimeters that someone said. $13 millimeters. Let me get my measuring tool. I mean, we'll try to be precise about things. Well, that's close anyway. 12.99. Let me get them to where I would normally put them, roughly. Because I know, yeah, I'd normally put them about there, which is... Are you saying between washers? Well, yeah, you were saying, but like... Are you saying from washer to washer it should be about 13? Because that's pretty damn close. If I pull that open a little bit, like there's some filament in there, I'm pretty damn close to 13 millimeters. But yeah, I don't know. So I don't think that was it. I think it was mostly that plug on the end that was causing problems. So let's plug this back in. Let me get this cord over here. And we'll preheat this and see if there's any change at all. All right, no magic smoke released. We'll preheat for PLA. $13 millimeter. Is there a gap between the collar of the nozzle and the heat break? I don't think so. There's a tiny little bit. I can try to tighten that up a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that's tight. It looks like there's less than half a millimeter or so, but I can see a little bit of light. I do use a filament filter. It's sitting right here. Like I have it off right now, but I always have it clamped on there whenever I'm actually printing. But yeah, the nozzles, like I've changed them a bunch of times. Like I'm pretty good at getting them tight now, I think. Cuz I always do it with it at temp like you're supposed to, and it's kind of disappointing how much of a pain in the ass it is to change nozzles on these E3D heat blocks cuz they're just hard to get a hold of the way the wires run along the side. It's a little awkward to get it from the back, and the way the front plate assembly is on this, like even if you take the fan and stuff off, it's kind of awkward to grab it from the front. But okay, so we're basically at temp there. Let me grab some of this green here. And we'll actually just cut a piece off to work with instead of dealing with the whole roll. All right. And we've got a nice clean cut end here. And I don't want to do a load filament because we don't need to pull a ton of this down in. Seems to be working as intended. What's my favorite nozzle? For me, like the most practical size is probably the 0.3. Because like the 0.5 prints end up being like tediously slow. And like the 0.3 is not as bad, obviously. Because like if you use an automatic extrusion width, it ends up being like 0.38 or something, which isn't significantly smaller than the 0.4 nozzle's extrusion width. But I don't know. It just seems to be a nice like crossover between tight detail. Because if you need to, you can bring the extrusion width down to like, you know, so, I mean, you can go clear down to 0.3 technically if you'd want to. All right, so we've got filament loaded. The problem is, like, I don't know if this is going to be a very good test, because if we do unload filament here, it's still doing it. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It just doesn't want to, But the weird thing to me is, like, if we go to move axis, like, if we manually move the axis, it usually backs out just fine. Right, so here's, like, manually moving the axis, and I'll just grab this so you can see if it's moving or not. Obviously, it goes fine that way. And then if you back it out slow, it's fine. Because like that, if I manually back it out a little bit and then go to unload filament, oh, still doesn't want to do it. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's almost like the stepper doesn't have enough power or something. And I don't know if you guys can see that. We get a really weird plug on the end of that. Like how it's kind of like offset. Like there's a really sharp ledge on this side. And I know that's what's catching. It's like something's misaligned inside. I don't know. It's very strange. I wish I knew what was wrong with it. But yeah, I mean, there's something very obviously not lining up properly. I don't know if it's the nozzle, because the way the nozzle and the heat break go together, there's really not any room for movement. Well, I mean, Josh, that's what I end up doing, is I end up having to hold it. But man, sometimes I have to put so much pressure on it, it makes me nervous. Like sometimes I basically have to like grab it with my whole hand and pull it. I can do that. I'll unscrew the idler as soon as it reloads here. But I've done that before. Because if you don't have the idler in, you should be able to really easily like push and pull the filament through. And it's not in low power mode or anything stupid like that I'm aware of. We are in high power. Because I mean, we can unscrew the idler and test it, but if we unscrew the idler, the automatic unload isn't going to work because the idler won't be. Or do you mean just like loosen the idler? There, I loosened the idler pretty good, and it still does it. Yeah, it's just like the motor is like skipping steps. It's not cheap filament. Everybody smash that like button. If you feel so inclined, feel free. But normally if you yeah, see there's me like pulling on that. Like I should be able to pretty easily pull that out of there. But it catches, like you can feel it catch. Like I can push that down through and extrude without any problems, but unless you leave it down in there, you know, if you push down on it and then pull to get the like tip of the filament soft, it's fine. But if it sits there for even a moment and that little plug on the end cools down, it's like you have this hard blockage in there. But I don't know. I was thinking of ordering like a new heat break and stuff. Josh, no, it's not cheap filament. That's not what it is. It could be the nozzle. We can try a different nozzle. But this has done this with multiple nozzles. I mean, all of them, essentially. Let me auto home this. Let's home it. Heartbreak equal heat break. All right, so let's move this to where we can switch nozzles. And if anybody hasn't switched nozzles before, I do actually have a video on that. If you're curious on how to do that for these E3D V6s. They're a little bit of a pain because you have to actually like grab the heat block. Let me grab a brand new nozzle. Because there's some of these that I haven't used yet. Like I think this is the 0.8. This one looks new also. What is this? This is another one of the 0.35s. We'll use that one. So we'll stick a 0.35 in here. We'll get this old one off. We'll bump the temp up a little bit. We're not going to go too crazy. We'll take it to like 250. We'll give it a sec to get at least over like 230. Like over about 230 seems to be enough to get it to release. And the reason you do that, I've seen people ask. I try to use a deburring tool in the heat break. That might help, actually. The shitty thing is we'd have to disassemble everything again. And I guess... What time is it? Because I'm a little bit limited on time, 11. What do you guys think of this? We could actually just take the nozzle out. I don't think switching nozzles is going to change anything. Because this nozzle isn't very old. And like I said, I know it's done it with all of them. We could just take the nozzle out, let this cool, which should let us separate the heat break from the heat block if we disassemble it again. And we could take a look at that. Though I don't really understand how they could get like misaligned when there's basically no room for anything to move. We'll stick a pair of cards on here so we don't ruin our PEI. So you have to get a pretty good grip on the heat block. And break that nozzle loose. And it's not uncommon to get a thermal runaway doing this. Especially touching the nozzle with like a metal tool. Because it ends up like absorbing a bunch of heat and then the machine thinks that it can't keep up and something might be wrong. So probably a third of the time that I change nozzles, you might end up getting a thermal runaway. Unless you're really quick about it. So there's that nozzle out. I'll try to pick it up here. And I mean, everything looks totally normal. There's obviously a little bit of melted filament in there. Nillabean, it's OBS. Yeah, I use OBS. I mean, everything looks normal inside that nozzle. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. Or see anything meaningful. But there's nothing out of the ordinary inside that nozzle. Like, this one isn't very old. This is like the second 0.4 that I had. This is one of the spares I had that I put in recently. Because, like, the one that originally came with the machine, I pretty much only run that when I run abrasive filaments. So if I do end up ruining it, I don't really care. It's the old one. So we're going to pull that out. I think we'll let this cool down. Look inside there. Oh, that might be a little bit tough. Yeah, I can't see shit in there. Can't see anything. But I don't know. I'm thinking now we should be able to screw the heat break out. Yeah, because maybe there's just like a little bit of a burr on the inside of the heat break there or something. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And I've never really seen anybody have this problem before. It could be that there was some plastic crushed between there. You could be right. I mean, it sucks. I guess we can go ahead and start disassembling this a bit. That could be the case. Which is why it would be kind of nice to have this torn apart and get a good look at it here. As much as I hate to tear this apart again. Oh, I really only want to put 2 of those fan screws back in. I'm so sick of those things. Hey, what's up, Neo? But yeah, I use OBS. OBS is free. It gives you the ability to do pretty much anything you'd ever care to do as far as streaming and stuff. Whoops. Yeah, I use OBS and Restream because this is actually going out to Twitch at the same time. Which I don't know how they do that with 0 delay, honestly. I don't know how the hell that works. They have a lot of freaking bandwidth, I know that. Alright, so we're mostly apart. We'll have to wait on that cooling fan. But yeah, OBS is easy to use. Like I said, it allows you to do pretty much anything you'd ever care to do. I've used it to do everything from streaming to, like, I've used it to rip VHS tapes to recording. Like, you can use it to record some of your video stuff. Like, it's kind of crazy all the stuff you can do. I've used it before to do things that you would, you know, you'd expect people to be doing with, what's that Microsoft Office presentation software? I can't think of it. But I've done stuff like that. You can do all kinds of stuff. I've recorded gameplay from, like, consoles and stuff. Since you can use almost anything as, like, a source and then record it and kind of mix your sources together and do all kinds of crap. Alright, we're almost cool enough there. PowerPoint, that's right. But yeah, OBS is super versatile. I've never actually used the other one, the pay one. I forget what it's called. XSplit? Yeah, I've never actually used XSplit. It never really appealed to me. And it wasn't really that you had to pay. That wasn't really the turnoff. Though that is a turnoff when you can get basically the same thing for free. Our fan should be turning off right about now. No, am I really the only one here that's ever had this problem? Like most of you guys on your MK2s, if you do like the automated remove filament, does it just pop out? There, fan turned off. Perfect timing. All right. We're back where we started. One more screw. And we're out. Did I try a cold pull? Yeah, I've done that a bunch of times. I mean, that's not a bad suggestion, but yeah, I've done that a bunch of times. You basically can't, unfortunately. That whenever that, I don't know if you saw the piece of filament I had, but whenever you pull it out, like you normally have that plug shape on the end of your filament when you pull it out, and mine's like offset pretty bad. Like it's basically flush on one side and then like offset really bad, and you can tell that's what's hooking in there. And if you try to do a cold pull, like you cannot get the filament out. It just simply will not come out. And yeah, I worry about tugging on it too hard. That's what she said. No, like I said, that's not a bad suggestion at all. Oh, it seems like once you've pulled that out once, it's not too bad. Subsequent times. Oh, perfect. Okay, so that came out the other direction. And everything looks fine. What the hell? Everything looks totally fine. This looks like essentially like a brand new piece. Like, so there's that piece. It looks fine. There's obviously never been any filament between that gap and the nozzle, or between this and the nozzle. And this doesn't appear to be bent or anything. Looks totally fine. I'm just rolling it to see if it is bent or anything, but it does not at all look to be. Interesting. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts? Like, what the hell? What the actual hell? I mean, we can try to just do like a really minor deburr on this. But there doesn't really seem to be much of an edge or anything on there, and it wouldn't, even if there was, it wouldn't explain why that little plug is so offset. What the hell, guys? Why is it always something? I always have these weird problems. Well, there's not really much we can do here. I did notice you want to pull this collar up on the PTFE liner so it keeps it pressed down. Did forget to do that. So maybe I don't know, maybe that was it. Maybe it was something stupid like that. Like that PTFE collar keeps it from pulling back. But if you have this pressed down, it will allow a little bit of play in that. Maybe it was something as stupid as that. Because you basically want to have your PTFE pressed in the whole way pretty good, and then walk this collar up a little bit. You know what I mean? So there's no room for play. Maybe it was something as stupid as that, because I can't really see where anything else is wrong. See, now our PTFE tube cannot move at all. Maybe it was something goofy and trivial like that. Who knows? I certainly don't know, unfortunately. Slide some filament through. There is some resistance because there's some filament melted in the... you know what I mean? Because there's some filament on the walls there at the end. I can't quite get piece through. Since that is the melt region there. I don't know. We'll put it back together. We'll try to do like a cold pull on it. But I'm kind of at a loss. I don't really see anything wrong anywhere. All right, that's all back together nicely. We'll slide her all together nice here. And I'm not jamming that up. I want to make sure that that black collar that we were looking at stays, pulled out. So I'm not going to jam that up there and push that collar. And we're positioned... Sorry, the cam's off. I'm sorry, guys. I wasn't paying attention. But so we slid it back in there, and like I said, I'm making sure I didn't press that black collar thing up against the top, so it should stay like tensioned out there a little bit. And our heat block is sort of, straight like it should be. Pop our thermistor back in there. And I guess we'll throw it back together again. Does anybody know where the longer screw goes on this? Like, I can't believe we have a longer screw here. Or do we have two longer ones? Yeah, we have two longer screws. I don't know which one goes where. I guess it really doesn't matter. Sorry, checking on. We will try that, Scott. Sorry I missed some of the chat there. Is the tube itself cut flush? I think so. Yeah, it seemed to be. Do you mean like at a right angle, so we have a nice flat surface? It seemed to be. All right, so let's throw this bastard back together. Right. Oh, we should probably pull the instructions up and see which screw goes where on this. But I really don't feel like it, if I'm being perfectly honest. It looks like this upper screw here is the longest one, because that nuts this screw here in the corner. That nuts like way farther back. So I'm pretty sure that's like the super long one. That nuts recessed way back in that assembly. You enjoyed the live stream last week? Oh, you mean the community hangout? Yeah, they're fun. I'm pretty sure they're going to remain a normal thing. I haven't really heard about like who's going to host it this week or anything, but like I told those guys, if any of those guys start to lose interest, I'm going to start riding their ass because I think it's fun. If for no other person than myself. So, yeah, we're going to well, I think everyone else has the intentions of keeping them a normal thing too, but if anybody starts to lose heart or interest, I'm going to push. So, yeah, I think you're right. They do fit. And I think these are all the same size. Pretty sure. And I'm just going to throw 2 of these in here for now. I'm not putting all 4 in. It takes too damn long. Because God forbid we'd have to tear this apart again. Jesus. Plus, these are stripped out. I think I already have one of these stripped out here on the side. One of these fan screws. But I know 3D Print Professor, he had a topic that he wanted to host, but I don't know what everyone's schedules are like, so I don't know how often various people are going to have the time free. So we have that front fan to mount yet, and that's it, I believe. As far as like being together enough to actually function. But yeah, we'll get this together. We'll try doing a lower temp extraction once we'll have to heat up to get the nozzle back in there. But we'll try doing it at a lower temp to see if we can clear anything that way. The last thing is the cooling shroud, but we really don't need that on here. But I guess we'll go ahead and stick it on. Why it's so hard to get that lined up? I keep tightening the fan too soon. There we go. Yeah, we tried that, Scott. Like, I actually loosened them up quite a bit, and it didn't appear to make any difference, unfortunately. All right, looks good. We're basically reassembled, so we'll heat back up. I won't do a preheat, so we don't heat the bed, but we'll set the nozzle temp to, about 240 again, 250? We'll go 255. I know they recommend higher than that for the nozzle changes, but I've had a lot of troubles with thermal runaways trying to do it at the temp they recommend. Get it straightened around there. Joe Mike. Yeah, it's weird to me that if you manually move the axis, it seems to work fine. Like if I go into the move axis and just ever so gently put tension up on the filament, it comes out like effortlessly. Which seems odd to me. Because, I mean, as far as I could tell, like, I could press the unload filament an infinite number of times because it doesn't move at all. Which is weird to me. And we'll put a new nozzle in here. I don't know where I'd put that 0.35, but we'll put that guy in here. I just had it. There it is. All right, we're at about 220, so we'll give it another second here. I mean, luckily this isn't an issue that it's not that big of a deal. It just kind of like bothers me every time it happens because I feel like something's wrong and I want to fix it. But I mean, the only thing it really causes is another, 30 seconds every time you change filament. So it's not the end of the world. I'd like to be able to fix it if I can. All right, so we're basically at temp. I'm going to screw this in there as far as I can get it with my fingers. Which is the whole way. Okay. And we'll let the temp recover there. Dip down to about 240, and it's climbing again. So let that heat up nice. Get her, and I don't know what you guys use. I end up using these to grip the heat block from the back, and then I have a tiny little adjustable wrench here for the nozzle itself. It seems to work okay doing it this way. It's just, I really, like at first, it was really awkward getting a hold of the heat block. And that's pretty tight. We'll see what we have for a gap here. We've got about a 2 millimeter gap. I think I screwed the heat break down in a little farther than it was before. Hopefully that's not an issue. We'll just double check that we have this nice and tight. I would imagine that matters more than anything. All right, that is definitely snug in there. All right. Little channel locks you found. Yeah, I wish they would actually produce a little tool that would go in there and, you know, slide under the wires and stuff to give you a good like grip on that. Because I think it's one of the things that weirds people out the most. We'll definitely have to calibrate our Z height again. Because that nozzle is lower. So how do we want to do this? How do we want to test this? We have a nice clean end here. We can just manually push this down in. It goes through pretty effortlessly. Extrudes nice and smooth. So now I'll let that sit there for a minute and kind of develop that plug. Oh, that came right out. Oh no, it's still got that shitty offset. I don't know why it's it actually seems worse. So let's put the idlers back on, or the idler back on, and see if we somehow magically fix this. What do you guys think? Do you think it matters that I put the... Do you think it matters that the heat break is a little bit farther in than it was before? Because we do have a noticeably larger gap between the nozzle and the heat block. Need to post your vid. Yeah, I don't think it takes me any more than a minute to change it. Like after a while, even with it feeling kind of awkward, like you get used to it. I just wish there was something a little more, I don't know, something that felt a little bit better doing the change. Oh, we're still at 250 degrees. I was like, why is this bubbling and smoking like this? It's a little hot for PLA. That's probably why it's extruding so nice. We'll take it down to 170 like someone suggested. Yeah, guys, that's why it was extruding so nice and smooth. It was at 250 degrees or 255. So we'll wait till that comes down a little bit. It's down to about 230. And let's just for shits and giggles try the unload. Oh, it popped it out. I think maybe it was the PTFE. Maybe it was that little tensioner thing on it. Because that did pop this out. Let me check the gap. I think I think we're a little tight. Yeah, I think we're a little tight on the idlers. We can loosen them up a little bit. We'll load this filament again. Yeah, that did eject it. We're exactly at 13 millimeters. Like that, my calipers just fit in there. That's like a perfect fit. So yeah, that's why I said I don't think it was really the idler tension that was causing the problems. So here we're at 170. It works. That worked. Even at 170, that popped it out. That's what it was then. It was the PTFE liner spaced a little bit between the heat break and the PTFE. I would not have guessed that that's what it was, but I'm glad that has apparently fixed it. Here's the tool, Home Depot mini. Huh. I have to stop at Lowe's today. Maybe I'll try a pair of those. Yeah, because what they said, there was a 6 and a 10-inch pair. Because a 6-inch pair, that is pretty small for a pair of channel locks. So we'll try this again, and we'll let it sit here, and we'll let it sit here and form a bit of a plug. We'll make sure it like cools down. All right, so it's in there. Filament's in there. We'll let this sit for a minute and give any of that molten filament a chance to kind of like cool in the heat break. But I can kind of tell already that I think we got it. Like I said, that's a relief, because it ends up taking just every time you change filament, it ended up taking a little bit of extra time. Let me mark this so you guys can see it. Well, that didn't work at all. Let me grab a real marker. This is a real marker. We'll put a mark on that. And I'd say that had enough time. That was more than enough time for it to form a plug before. So we're going to unload filament. And it didn't come out. What the shit? I thought we fixed it. And it's like before, like I'm pulling on that pretty good. Damn it, guys. I really thought we might have fixed that. I would imagine, like normal, that if we go to move axis, we extrude that down in a little bit to get that little part molten. And then look, not even touching it, it'll probably back the whole way out effortlessly. Yep. There it's going to back the whole way out like effortlessly if you just run the extruder the other way. I don't know what it is. It's like someone suggested it. It's almost like it's just trying to move too fast. But there it's still coming out. Oops, I went the wrong way. I just don't know why. Like, I'm not pulling on that at all. I don't know why to unload that way, but not with the... There it goes. And you can see we still have that weird... Like, I don't know, maybe it always looked like that and I just didn't realize it. We have that weird offset blob. How it's, like, smooth on that side and then big old blob on that side. Well, we learned nothing today. We learned absolutely nothing today. Damn it. Yeah, let me try doing that. I've never actually, like, I've pulled the idler off a bunch of times. Can you do a load that way? You can't quite load it that way. What the hell? Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's something we could change in the firmware or something, maybe. You're going to put in some Moby while watching this? Hey, now. I guess Moby's not... If I'm understanding what you're saying there, I guess Moby's not the worst looking guy, right? I thought it was funny the one day. I forget who the guy was. I think it was another YouTuber. Someone asked me if I knew them, and I was like, no, not really. And they told me to pull up a picture. And the dude did look, like, eerily similar to me. Like, brother from another mother style. Because I think 13 millimeters is actually, I think, a little tighter than I tend to run the idlers. They don't need to be quite that tight. Because I think if I loosen them... All right, so it's in there. We extrude a little bit. I'm going to try that. So just... What Joey was saying was... instead of using the unload... The whole unload spiel... is just to, like, pull your tensioner back... I'm guessing just put your like thumb on the screws, squeeze it back a little bit. Yeah, that's a hell of a lot easier, I gotta say. I might be stealing that from you, Joey. And then we'll try loading it that way. I tried a moment ago, but it didn't quite work. I don't think the filament went down in the PTFE. So thumb across the screws, pinch with the finger. Oh, there we got in. Hell yeah, man. I'm sold. I'm absolutely sold on that method. So thanks for that, Joey. Yeah, the hell, that's easy. Look at that. Sold. Check is in the mail, Joey. I think that's the way to go with it. Your third dragon is finished now? Hey, what's up, Dickie Bird? HB, man. I don't know if you were here for the stream, HB, but we took a look at the PTFE liner, and I think it was fine. I don't think it's... Like, I ordered some tubing that's not here yet, but I don't think I'm gonna replace it. I don't think that's the problem. Like the end isn't even discolored or anything. Like it's has damage from heat. But yeah, man, that's yeah. You still got to cut the end, or it won't. It'll get caught up down in. But yeah, I just loosened my tensioners a little bit. I don't know what they're at now. I can give you a number. Because I've never really thought that they need all that much tension on the filament, honestly. Oh, that's so easy. So there she's in. And I think there's still enough tension on that you're not going to have any problems with anything. Yeah, that's not far off. It's like 13.5 millimeters. But no, I think we didn't really solve the problem, but we did circumvent it, so I guess that's just as good sometimes. But no, yeah. You guys didn't learn anything from me, but we did learn something from Joey today. The Dungeoneering vids are good. Yeah, I definitely got my mojo back a little bit. Like, it was nice. I have a video that I wanted to make for how everybody responded to the little vlog I did, because the response to that was pretty fantastic. But yeah, I definitely kind of got my mojo back. It's weird how just like I don't know. Like, even before people were responding to that video, like after I made that video, like I just felt totally different about things when I was doing them. So like recording wasn't nearly as painful as it tends to be. So yeah, the Dungeoneering videos are going to be pretty consistent. I know, especially some of you guys that have been here for a long time, like I talk a lot of shit about what I'm going to do, and then it tends to not happen quite like I say it's going to, but where's the hole? I can't find the hole. Is that it? Yeah. No, but it's looking like the format moving forward, and I'll talk about that in the video I'm going to make. It's looking like the format going forward is going to be like probably a review or two a week. I'll try to do like a tutorial of some kind a week, and then one of the Dungeoneering videos every week. Because since I am taking it seriously, like I'm gonna have to release like content more consistently. So I'm thinking like 3 recorded videos a week, and 2 streams a week will be pretty steady and should like keep me ranked reasonably well in search results and stuff by keeping the channel active. So I'm going to try to do that moving forward. Like, obviously there's going to be some weeks where there's a little bit more and some weeks where there's a little bit less, but it's kind of crazy with reviews. Like, I feel stupid for putting them off so much. Like, even after doing like that Hobgoblin 3D review, I've already had several companies message me already about wanting to send me files. Because I feel kind of mixed about it. Like, I prefer to pay for the stuff that I'm going to review, so there's no ambiguity in like what motivations are, but at the same time, it is nice to have access to everything, you know, right off the bat without having to spend 50 or $100 a week on file packs to be able to do reviews. So I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. But yeah, guys, like I said, we didn't actually fix the problem, but I guess I've never really looked. I tend to be like that. Like, I don't Google stuff like I should. And I've never been much for forums. I don't know why. Like, I've been a computer/internet nerd for like ever, and I've just never been into forums really. It's like such a black hole for time usually. But No, I mean, I guess it's a little bit reassuring if there are other people that are experiencing this problem. And I don't know if there is a fix for it. I don't know exactly what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if you'd go in and edit the firmware to like reduce the retraction speed for the filament eject. I wouldn't be surprised if that would help. Like kind of like it does with the load filament, if it was like kind of slow and steady over a longer period of time, if it pulled the filament out that way, I don't think there would be as much of a problem. But I don't know. I think I'm kind of over it. I think I'm just going to be squeezing this to put the filament in and out. So yeah, thanks, man. Let's make you a Nillabean scene pack to print? What are you talking about, man? What are you saying there? I know something we're probably... We might do it Friday, but I've got kind of a comical idea for a button here. I want to replace this button. The little knob, the default knob on the Prusa control panel here. I wanted to do... Because the other day I did the same thing. They're supposed to fix this. Like, I'm sure some of you guys have dealt with this. Like, say we go to print from SD here. So, like, there's one click. There's two clicks, and it moves. And there's, like, not even a click. That's, like, less... That was, like, in between clicks, and it moves to the file. And then there's, like, a click and a half back to get it there. And then, like... half a click to move forward, and then another click and it doesn't move, then half a click. It's like, it's just kind of wonky how it moves through the files. But I wanted to make this like comically huge knob to like deal with that. But then I was thinking of it more seriously. Like, I think I want to put a geared one on here. Have a little bit of gear reduction. But instead of your own dungeon tiles. Well, the cool thing is the Rampage system, they did release their bases with the Open Forge. I actually misspoke in the video I did and called the one thing Open Forge, but there actually is a thing called Open Forge. And they actually released their interlocking base system, so you can download STLs that are just like the bases of these dungeon tiles without like anything on top of them. So yeah, there is a pretty good way to do that already, and they'll integrate like right into your other files. Because I was thinking of well, not thinking, I'm going to do it, like pulling up ZBrush or something. Like what did you use, Aspie? What was the program you were using to do like the organic style sculpting? Because like say I would sculpt something in like a semi-organic way, and then want to take like something like this tile. Like, say I would raise all these surfaces. Is there any way to take those surfaces then and put, like, a nice flat thing? Like, kind of like in Tinkercad, how I could take, like, a square shape and subtract it from everything to give, like, a nice flat surface. Is there a way to do that? Because I could probably knock tiles out pretty quick if I could do that. Okay, use ZBrush. Yeah. Imaxinar. Well, yeah, like I agree. Like the kind of places in the encoder where it actually is like the that tactile like bumps. Yeah, like I totally agree. That's you're not gonna fix that. But if you do introduce something that has like their own tactile bumps in there, and it's like finer grained than this one, and they would kind of like be a little bit stronger than these, you could overcome it, I think. Plus you could get, it'd almost be like steampunky, the design I was thinking of doing. Do some little gears and stuff on there. But no, I totally agree. I like buttons better. The knob itself is kind of an irritation, and I think what puts it over the top is that you have to press this to make your selections, because like I when I first got the machine, what I wanted to do was actually like wire out of this switch, because it's just like a little not a potentiometer, but you know what I'm saying. It's just a little knob with like a micro switch built in, and you can actually like jump into the micro switch. And I always wanted to put like a separate switch here so you could turn your selector and then just like hit the button, because most of the problem comes from it being kind of touchy with the selection, and then you have to press it, and while you're pressing it you can like rotate it a tiny little bit, and it can lead to you selecting like the wrong things. But yeah, I mean, that would be a more direct way to do it, is just use an encoder with a better resolution. But I don't know if he's here today. Oh, I can't recall. I'm so terrible with names and I always feel bad. Um, but the one guy that's usually here in the stream, he's got some pretty badass 3D terrain that I think he's working on a Kickstarter for. And I'm pretty pumped to see it, because I actually like the designs better than some of these tiles. Because like these Rampage tiles, I like most of their stuff a lot, but like this is their basic dungeon floor tile, and I do not like these. I really don't. I printed out. Like this is the basic floor tile from the Dragon Lock system, and compare that to like these. Like to me, it's like a no-brainer. Like these ones are freaking sweet, and these ones are kind of lame, honestly. Because these ones, if you say you have a big room with like a ton of these tiles, they don't really look samey. Like a pattern doesn't really jump out at you. When you use these, like your eye pretty quickly like recognizes the pattern of these four pieces. Like even if you rotate them and stuff, it's just like there's a pattern there that kind of sticks out at you. Because this almost looks like a lunar landing kind of surface, and I just prefer this. And the guy that's making those files, I like the look of his. Earl, yeah, there he is. Yeah, because if any of you guys are into the dungeon stuff, you're probably going to be pretty pumped to see some of the things that he's got in the works. I don't know if you wanted me to mention anything, Earl, but I did. So sorry if you didn't want me to. The Tron XY, yeah. This displays the same way, kind of. Like if you do anything super fast, like if you start really cranking the dial up, or the dial up, it'll miss steps occasionally. You can tell it like it just doesn't process stuff fast enough. Yeah, Earl, I don't know if you ever met Aspie, but Aspie does a lot of stuff in ZBrush as well. I don't know how much you want to work with people, but he's kind of got projects going on all the time. What is the website? Can you drop like a half-ass bastardized link? And then I can fix it. Or I can just make you, here, I'll just make you, a moderator there. So you can actually post a link now. Why does this app not scroll the... Yeah. Yeah. YouTube has some room for improvement. I've only used the mobile app, like, I'm assuming you're using the mobile app. I've only used it once or twice, and it was not an enjoyable experience. What do I think about the Olo? Oh, God. I think it would be really sweet if it worked. But, yeah, if you guys are like me, I don't really have periods of the day where I want to let my phone sit for 10 hours and do something without me knowing what's happening and just hoping it's okay when it's done. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm glad I saw that text. The place I used to work for, called me and wants me to do some big church doors, like some vinyl installation. And I don't know if you guys have ever installed like large vinyl. Like these would be pieces of vinyl that are 6 foot wide and about 10 foot tall, solid sheets of transparent with like some stuff for a church printed on them. And it's actually my uncle that runs the business, and they don't like doing their installations, so they always like call me when they have like big pain in the ass projects. And he just canceled for today. Oh, that's like such a relief. I hate doing that stuff. Oh, yeah. Anybody that's interested, Earl just dropped a link to his site in there. You can go check out some of those tiles I was talking about. But Earl has a lot of cool projects, man. Earl, you need to set up a channel so people can like check out some of your stuff. You should stream some of your stuff. Faux show. Cause I don't know. Do you have pics of like your airbrush station up there? Also, where are those files at, man? I need one of those. You gotta hook a brother up. Oh, they are. You do have pictures on there. Okay. Also check out his airbrush station on there. That looks pretty badass, I gotta say. I have got to say. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do more than say. I'm gonna share the screen a little bit. Yeah, check out this airbrush station that he came up with. And it prints in like several pieces, got like kind of like a medieval vibe. It's for like holding your paints and stuff. And I thought you had, oh, there's some of the terrain too. Yeah, Earl's terrain stuff looks sweet, in my opinion. That's as good or better. I would say arguably better than a lot of the 3D terrain systems that are out there currently. Like his textures and stuff. Like I love those floor tiles. I think they kind of avoid the problems I was complaining about with some of the other ones. Like I don't think yours are going to have this pattern that really like jumps out and screams like there's only 4 designs like some of the other ones do. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the day you release some of that stuff. It's pretty sweet, man. But yeah, man, very, very cool. I was going to start uploading videos and or streaming. How do I gain an audience? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know why the hell people started coming and watching me do streaming and stuff. I honestly don't know. It takes a lot of consistency. If you see that like channel update video I did, like I was doing really good for a while, and then I got a little bit lax with making videos and stuff, and like with my channel stats and stuff, you could see there was like an abrupt drop off as soon as I stopped uploading videos on a regular basis. Build it and they will come. I'll tell you one thing, if you're going to be doing 3D printing stuff, if you have like any kind of personality whatsoever, if you come and hang out in the Friday night 3D print streams, you could probably get some people headed your way that way. Yeah, I've never tried. Facebook's a little bit awkward to stream to. It's like you get more viewers and less viewers at the same time, which is kind of weird. Like I've done a little bit of streaming on Facebook, and it's like you get more people because of the way it like alerts people depending on how many people I said people like 8 times. Depending on how many people you have in like your friend list, cuz people will like check it out. But at the same time, like none of those carry over to anything. Like in my experience, like none of those people will come to your YouTube, none of those people will come to your website. It's just like friends and family basically like nosing into what you're doing. But I don't know. Yeah, just like do it. We talked about that because I think we're going to have to, one of the Friday community hangout kind of streams, it's pretty obvious that at some point in the near future we're going to have to do one that's entirely dedicated to like YouTube and like how to do it, and like tips and advice that some of the YouTubers that are involved like have for people who are looking to get into it, and actually like talk about our setups and stuff, talk about money, like investment amounts and stuff like that, because it's something that there's a lot of questions from people about. And I think it's useful because like I'm of the mind that the more people there are in the community, the better off the community is. So anybody I can kind of help, because I'd like to do a video soonish about my setup, because my setup's not that complicated, and people say all the time about how like decent it looks and stuff. But yeah, for like a really basic setup, there's not that much of an investment as far as like cost. Like obviously there's some, but it's not nearly as bad as most people expect, because you don't really need a bunch of fancy equipment. The biggest piece of the equation is usually like OBS, and even if you have like a 720p webcam and stuff, you can usually get by as long as you're doing something that people are interested in. Rum and OJ. No, this is actually, I have like a new addiction. I don't know where the can is. I used to drink energy drinks all the time, and then like I kind of got to the point, like things are cyclical. I got to the point where I couldn't stand drinking them at all. But I picked one of these up the other day. This is one of the Monster Energy, like, it's called Ultra Sunrise. It's like 30% juice and then some of the Monster blend. That's actually what this is. Love it. It's pretty good. It's like people were making fun of me. I drank my first Red Bull ever like a month ago, 3 weeks ago. I had never drank Red Bull. Have a lot of space. I actually don't have that much space here. I know that, I mean, it's definitely possible you have less space, but like my camera is only like from my fingertips maybe 18 inches away. So this area is only about maybe 6 feet deep, and like most of what's on camera is about 6 foot by, I don't know, less than 10 foot. But yeah. But it looks like we're rated about 2 hours. Is there anything else anybody wanted to talk about, or any questions? Any stuff like that? You want to know my favorite sexual position? Anything? Anybody? We'll keep it above board here, guys. But no, that's a little disappointing. It's funny to say that, but I was kind of hoping that when we tore this apart, there would be something wrong, like something overtly incorrect with the way things were kind of set up, but doesn't seem like that's the case, which is kind of weird. What do I think about the Stockholm thing? I don't know what you mean. To help with the close-up cam focus? Well, the thing is, Robert, is the lighting actually is pretty good in here, honestly. Like, I have the camera gains turned down a lot. For instance, the cam gain on the little camera is only at 60. It's just like, it's a problem I've had all, like, forever with autofocus. It's just bad. It's just really bad. Like if I switch, let me switch to this camera, right? like I have the gain down because the colors blow out, like especially like my skin and stuff. It blows out really bad. Like here is kind of a normalish gain, right? But then like lots of stuff you do, it actually like will start like clipping if anything's light colored. One of the stereotypical examples is when I try to show people like labels like that. Like there's a white label and I mean that's not actually the worst, but it gets really tough to read. So you end up bringing the gain down to something a little more sensible. Like that looks kind of normal-ish. Yeah, that's down at about 60 again. Is what like most of the colors and stuff look good at. I know I need to get soft boxes. I'd like to get those in the next week or so. But the autofocus is just terrible. Especially when you're trying to do like different things and you move it all. It's just always like refocusing, and like there's a pretty good example. I mean, that's like dead center in the middle of the camera there, and it finally decided to focus. But then if like anything moves back here, like there's a good chance. I don't know. It's just not the best. I'm not a fan. If you watch, like, probably 80% of my streams have periods of me bitching about autofocus because it's just like the battle that never ends. What computer am I using? I've built every computer I've owned for like the last almost 20 years, I would say. I haven't, the only like pre-built computer I've ever bought was a Packard Bell in like the mid 90s. I think was the last pre-built computer I bought. But no, this is an i7 with 32 gigs of like some pretty bog standard like G-Skill DDR4 GTX 780. My graphics card was amazing like a year and a half or 2 years ago, but you're on a 4K CRT. Holy shit! I didn't even know they made such a thing. It's crazy. But no, I'm on like the monitor that's right in front of me. They're like older 1280 by 1024 monitors. They're a pair of like Scepter gaming monitors from back when I did gaming like kind of seriously. Used to play Counter-Strike competitively. But I need some more 1080p monitors because they're like the screen real estate's a lot more usable than this thing. Because here I have like my OBS window and my like live dashboard and my Twitch window up, and it's a pain in the ass to keep everything in a way that you can see everything. Well, Greg, like I don't know if you were here earlier. We tore it apart twice actually. We tore it apart twice, and I don't think there's a gap in the PTFE tube as far as it like being cut straight. I had initially thought maybe it was the PTFE, like there's that black retaining collar, and if it's not pulled out with the PTFE pushed down in, it leaves like a little bit of a gap. Because it seemed at first like that had fixed it, but then it didn't work again on subsequent tries. So, yeah. No, it seems like if you look at the blobs on the end of the filament, it seems like the nozzle and the heat break are actually like offset from each other, but I can't fathom how that's possible. There's no room for them to shift one direction or the other in there. I mean, unless the machining on the threads leaves like a little bit of room for them to shift, I just can't really see how that would be the case. But as far as I can tell, the PTFE liner is actually fine. Because I actually, again, you might not have been here when we tore it apart, but I actually even like relieved it. I don't know what you call that. Like we kind of like recessed the inside so that when it presses back together, there shouldn't be anything for it to catch on. So I really don't think it actually ended up being the PTFE liner. And as far as the liner itself, it looks good. The end looks like it's cut square, and it looks like we have like a good solid connection between that and the part of the heat break that it goes into. But yeah, I don't know what's causing it actually. We did come up with Joey Nuggets shared a way that we can load and unload without it being a problem. So even though we didn't fix the problem, we did circumvent it in a fairly reasonable way that I think is going to be useful moving forward. But no, I don't actually know what's causing it. I'd kind of like to. I don't know, like everything's money though, money, 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 money. I'd kind of like to have another complete E3D V6 to swap in and out and see if it was different, or like at the very least get like a different heat break, because I think they're about $18 to buy just the heat break. It'd be interesting to switch just that out, or switch like the heat break and the heat block out. But I don't know. I don't know. Because I'd kind of like to get a couple new components, because like especially with the actual heating element, I'd like to have another one of those so I could bend the wires out a little bit farther out from the heat block, so it'd be easier to grab the heat block for nozzle changes. Because if those wires weren't tucked up so close, and I'm afraid to bend them out because they're notoriously brittle, and I'm kind of afraid to bend them out from the heat block a little bit. Because I'd like to have another, like a new one where I could bend them out and leave, maybe 3/16 of an inch between those red covered leads out of the heating element. So nozzle changes are a little less frustrating. Not that they're that frustrating, but. You shorted them once. Yeah. Yeah, stuff like that, like I'm kind of afraid of. I wish they were just like out of the way a little bit more. Yeah, that's not a bad suggestion, Aspie, is to actually put like a PTFE liner. You could even do something as simple as like heat shrink tubing. I don't know how that would hold up to the heat. Let me check this out, Earl. You're just finishing the caps? Oh, is that like an actual station? What am I looking at here? Oh, I got you. I guess you're doing like a stone one too? Or I guess the other one was stone, wasn't it? Yeah. No, they look sweet, man. I look forward to printing them someday. You bought a smoke detector with a relay? Oh, that's not a bad idea either, really. Yeah, that's not a bad suggestion. Luckily, I've never had any problems, but I have seen people have some problems. I remember in the 3D Hangout, I forget who mentioned it. I think it was Lauren. Was it Lauren from A-Buzz? The convention she was at recently. Apparently, the table behind them, there was some smoke that was rather obviously not normal PLA smelling smoke. So things do happen from time to time. Yeah, I need the thing I need most, like the paint rack is awesome. The thing I need most is like a little holster kind of thing for my paintbrush, because as it is now, I just kind of like lay it in my desk drawer, which is not ideal. So Earl, if you ever make something like that, I will be an immediate paying customer. Do you have an idea what you're going to sell that for, Earl? No, man. Like I said, I don't. I've obviously I spent several minutes talking about your stuff, so I really don't care if you talk about it. Oh, you have a matching brush stand. Yeah, I'll be a paying customer the day that's released because I really need one. Kickstarter link. I don't think he actually has the Kickstarter up. I think he'll confirm that, but I know you've been working on it, but I don't think he actually has it live yet. Because if he does, I'll probably let everybody know. Yeah, like Earl, more than likely, whenever you do put the Kickstarter live, I'll probably do like a really short video on here letting everybody know. Because like it would be cool if I end up being like the 3D terrain printing guy. That would be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm all about like letting people know when stuff like that hits the market. But if for no other reason than I'm excited to check some of that stuff out. Because the cool thing is with a little bit of work, uh, like I didn't take a notice. Did you have like an interlocking system for the tiles? I would assume you did. And if so, which ones were you using? Was it like your own design or was it one that integrates into some of the other systems? It kind of looks like you have. I'm squinting here. They kind of look similar to the Rampage system. The Widow clip. What is the Widow clip? Or is it something of your own design? Say, because it's something that that's a project I've already started working on. Is making all the systems kind of integrate nicely together. And there was actually a guy that had a really cool video about uh, using some of the one base plates and using little magnetic balls to put everything together. Because I'm probably going to do a video on that soon. Because yeah, I think like for some of the projects, and that'll probably be discussed in the next engineering video, like what our actual like initial project is to get like finished and painted and everything like done, 100% done terrain. Uh, but some of the projects later, I think, are going to integrate like a bunch of different stuff from different systems to show like some of the unbelievable potential from mixing some of these things. But like I don't know, I don't know what your plan is for that, Earl, but I would highly recommend if you can to make the stuff available for people to mix and match, because like that's a big thing for me personally. Because there's not like one system that I feel like covers all the bases that I want to cover. My phone's ringing. Nilla, where are you from? Obviously in the U.S. here, and I'm from Pennsylvania. We're from the Appalachian Mountains. Or not we, I am. I don't know where all you guys are from. But yeah, guys, any other questions? I don't know if I fully answered the computer question before. It's an i7 6700K is what I'm running off of here. And it's pretty sweet. It was kind of painful to buy that a few years ago, but man, I'm glad I did. Don't get their undies in a bunch. Well, Yeah, I mean that is definitely something you have to consider. Uh, I don't think you'd get in trouble making your files compatible with them. I think where you'd run into problems is advertising that, because as soon as you start using their names at all for anything, I think you could potentially get yourself in some trouble. So it's one of those things, like if it is compatible, I don't think that's an issue, but if you start like shouting from the mountaintop that it's compatible with them, I don't know where the lines are for that stuff. But yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely something. It's I guess it's better to be safe than sorry with that stuff. Cuz you go from making like decent money on a Kickstarter to making negative dollars because you've got to go to court for something. So that's understandable. Definitely understandable, man. But now I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm glad I'm finally like getting back to doing some of these terrain projects. I've been printing shit for like ever, but I haven't really made any progress with any of the pieces. So I'm excited to start getting some of the stuff finished, because I really want to start. I think we talked briefly in the hangout on Friday about it, about starting maybe like an RPG group with some of the people that are online here, like with some of the other YouTubers. I think that would be pretty sweet. Obviously, not everyone in our audiences would be into that, but there's some people that would be totally into that, to see us like nerding out. But I don't want to do it until I have like finished terrain and stuff, and we can get all like Steven Spielberg with like streaming some gameplay, some lighting and stuff. But I think it would be fun. I think that would be a lot of fun. Surely there's some other like RPG nerds in here. Surely there's some overlap with 3D printing community, with all the like the terrain and stuff, people getting into that kind of stuff. But yeah, that'd be fun. But anyway, guys, it's about time for me to get something to eat. I wish this stream would have been a little bit more educational. We didn't really learn much of anything, and like I said, the only thing we did learn, we kind of learned from Joey. So Macy, I take it you're one of those nerd types. But yeah, I'm especially interested because, uh, again, I don't know. Some of you guys in the UK are probably much more familiar with it. Uh, BRP, basic role playing, is the system I'm going to use, and it's been modified pretty heavily, because it's like a system that's kind of modular to begin with, but then like I've modified it pretty heavily to fit the what am I trying to say here? The Elder Scrolls universe. I'm a big Elder Scrolls nerd. So I'm anxious to drop people into like an RPG that they're totally not used to. Cause like I've played D&D. I'm sure a lot of you guys have played D&D with a lot of people who are like super used to the system. And it kind of sucks. Like it's fun. Like I find playing D&D, but it kind of sucks when everybody's like super familiar with the system, because they kind of, you end up like, even if you're trying not to, you end up like gaming the system. And it's going to be cool to try to throw people off a little bit with a system they're not used to in a universe that most of you are probably not super familiar with. Because even people that have played, like, that's the cool thing about the Elder Scrolls universe. Like, even if you've played like 500 hours in Skyrim, you're probably not that familiar with the Elder Scrolls universe, honestly. Like, Skyrim did a really bad job of introducing people to like the fluff and stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see people like try to cope with some of the things in that universe that they're probably not at all familiar with. You start interacting with some of the Daedra and the Aedra and stuff. I did see that, Earl. I don't know if everybody was aware, but Elder Scrolls Online is free to play this week. Since my super stressful plans got canceled, I might actually jump on today a little bit if I get a chance. Because today's out. Tomorrow's out. Tomorrow's going to be a full, again, 12 or 14 hours of getting videos and stuff recorded. But I do have a little bit of surprise free time today. You're still using the Q6600? Yeah, I remember those days. My first computer was a Commodore 64. So I'm definitely used to not having tons of processing power. But no, I agree, Aspie. Metagaming, it depends on the group. It's better or worse depending on like the particular group of people you have. But the metagaming kills RPGs in general, and specifically RPGs. Yeah, here, Ulysses is right. ESO is free to play once you buy the base game, but yeah, I don't know how that works. Like because I had the game before. I don't know if do you have to rebuy it? Because I had ESO when it launched, and I didn't like it at all. I think it's like an okay MMO, but as far as like being an Elder Scrolls game, I always thought it was kind of terrible. But I don't know. That's like I know that's totally subjective. I got into an argument with some people on Facebook the other day about that. How like I love Skyrim. Like I think Skyrim's a great game, but I think it's a terrible Elder Scrolls game. And I think it's arguably not even an RPG, depending on how exactly you define RPGs. I don't think it really is one, honestly. It's more like of an action RPG kind of hybrid. You worked on the forums for ESO and launch? That's kind of cool. Yeah, I've heard people say it's a lot better. Because I remember initially when the game came out, like, it just was such a chore to play. And then, like, PvP was kind of terrible. Because I came from, like, my background was, like, I used to do arenas and WoW. Like, I used to take it very seriously. My wife and I were actually a 2v2 team in Wrath of the Lich King. And we were like, we did all right in 2v2s. We used to hang around like 22 or 2300, which I know isn't like the high end, but that's way higher than most people ever get. With my wife, guys. That was with my wife. Nobody, I always like joke with her because like most people don't really realize that she's like was a gaming nerd at all. And she was one of the best like PvP pally healers I have ever played with. She was terrible at any of the damage classes. Like she was terrible at killing people, but man, like as a healer, she was amazing in like PvP and arenas. Thanks for stopping by, Bob. I don't know if you saw, Bob. I did shoot you an email. So if you want to start dialoguing about the project you had going on, I'll try to get back to you. But yeah, that gives me warm fuzzies, man. My wife was like a serious PvP healer. Loved it. I have like such great memories of that period in time. But yeah, so I was coming from like World of Warcraft PvP and like ESO PvP just like I did not like it. So it's possible that all that stuff changed, but anybody ever play Warhammer Online? I used to like that game, but that game is dead. I know you can play it on private servers now, but it's like officially dead. Did I still want those spools? Hell yeah, I want those spools. I got projects to do, man. Especially with the project that's coming up. I think people are gonna get a kick out of that project if I can get enough spools for it. Because we are going to be annihilating some spools in kind of a fun way that involves 6.5 horsepower Honda engines. Hey, what's up? Is that Kirschlaus? Kirschless? Oh, okay, you messaged me on Twitter. I'll try to get back to you today. Because like I said, if anybody has... obviously, if you want to send them yourself, that's fine. But if anybody has spools that they want to send that don't live too far away, I'm willing to compensate you for shipping if you want to send me some spools. I need probably like 2 or 3 dozen would probably be enough for a project that I want to do that should be kind of entertaining. Lineage 2 had the best PvP. I think I had that game installed at one point, but I never really played it all that much. I don't play much of anything anymore. Like, I played some Heroes of the Storm. I play that occasionally, and then if I have some time to actually sit down, I usually sit and play like Morrowind or Daggerfall. Those games are my jam, especially Morrowind. God, is that game ever easy to dump a bunch of time into? I love playing that. But all right, guys, what is today? Tuesday. So if everything goes as planned, there will be a vid tomorrow. Kerschluss means short circuit. Oh, that's cool. It's not cool if it's 480 volt, depending on what your proximity to that. My one uncle, they used to have I think it was 480 volt tri-phase that ran my family's lumber mill, and he had that arc in his face, and it literally took all the skin off his face. It threw him about 20 feet, and yeah. Luckily, it all healed okay, but for a little while there, he kind of looked like Two-Face, except it was his whole face. Whoops. But that was like super high amperage. It's not just the voltage that gets you. But yeah, luckily it all healed okay. He doesn't look like a freak like he did at first. Oh god, he looked terrible at first. People thought he was going to be like... Yeah, he totally looked like a comic book villain for a little while. Which is funny in hindsight. It's funny since he healed okay, but it wasn't funny at the time. It was pretty terrifying. But yeah, it threw him like 20 feet. Because they found him unconscious about 25 feet from the service panel. Yeah, he totally had like a Freddy vibe. It was pretty bad. But he didn't need any grafts or anything crazy. It all just kind of like healed not too bad, which is mind-blowing, really. He's so lucky. Hey, what's up, Imprint? What's going on today, man? You're just catching the tail end here. Gussner. We tore it apart twice, actually, and everything looks fine, but it still has that problem where if you go to unload filament, it just doesn't move at all. It just goes and kind of stops. But Joey shared the like just pinching this to the side and just manually like pulling it in and out. That seems to work like really, really effortlessly. So I'll be doing that moving forward, but it's still the same problem even after tearing it apart twice, kind of doing some minor adjustments and stuff. You know how there's always a plug when you pull the filament out? The plug's just like offset funny, and it's got like a ledge on the one side, and you can tell that that's what's binding up in there, but I don't know why. Our PTFE liner is seated properly. There's no gap there. We switch nozzles and stuff, so you know there's no gap between the heat break and the nozzle that I'm aware of. Like it's especially now it's super tight, but everything looks completely fine. But it's still there's still something binding in there when you try to do the manual filament change or the automatic filament change. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Did you try flex atomic pole? We did like a cool pole. Like it seemed to be okay at like 170, and you can see it's like pulling out okay. Like even at 170, like we have a nice clean plug on the end. You can see where it's pulling everything out of the nozzle, but it still just like binds if you try to do the automatic unload. So I honestly don't know what's wrong with it. But I think the PTFE liner is fine. Everything else looks basically brand new in there except for having a little bit of melted filament in it. But Like the gap between the nozzle and the heat break seems fine. The connection between the PTFE and the heat break and stuff seems fine. So next project's the cheapest possible i3. Yeah, it's a cool project. I think like that is a cool opportunity to me because like I think I'd like to do that as well, but not this actual design. I think it would be cool to do that, like getting all the cheapest possible components and doing like the 3030 extruded aluminum frame. I think that would be like a good compromise because like I'm not a big fan of the OSB frame. I mean, it's possible that you wouldn't have any problems with it, but oh man, I've had a lot of experience with OSB, and even tiny amounts of moisture make that stuff just explode. So I wouldn't really be too anxious to build anything like that out of it. But I don't know, it's personal preference. That's the cool thing about projects like that, is there's tons of freedom to like customize it and tweak to whatever you'd like to do it. You've been at the sea for some ice cream. Very cool, man. Yeah, the weather here has been fantastic. It was almost 80 degrees yesterday. Because luckily it wasn't too bad, but I actually forgot to put sunscreen on yesterday, and I was like doing work outside, and I started peeling like really bad. Talkboy, you actually have a pair of them up there, and one of them functions completely. The other one, it plays back, but it won't record. And I tried to fix it, but oh my god, if you pull them open, they're one of the worst manufactured electrical devices I've ever seen. They had so many. They must have had so many problems with them because, like, when you look at the board, you can see that every one of those had to have like a person had to sit down with those and modify those circuits for some reason. Like you can see there's and I pulled them apart and they're both the same. There's a bunch of cut traces and jumpers that are hand soldered in there on those boards and stuff. So they must have had some serious problems with them. I'm not boycotting eBay. I still have a shitload of stuff to sell on eBay. So I'll probably list some things today. I've got a bunch of N64 boxes I have to sell for some quick cash. Like I have a couple like perfect boxes actually. Like I have a Mario Party 1 and 2 and a Mario Kart 64 box that are like they're so good they look fake, but I know they're real. How did it work for you to make them? Like after I did that video, I talked about at the beginning of this stream. After I made that video, like obviously that little vlog I did had a really good response from people. I was like pleasantly surprised because I'll probably do a short little thank you video today and put it up. But I don't know, like my whole just like how I felt about everything changed after I did that video. So like recording actually wasn't that bad. I still have the same problems where as soon as I try to like basically script a video and then like deliver the lines of dialogue to the camera, I can't do it. I don't know why. I can't I don't know. I'm schizophrenic, and I know that's what it is, and it's really frustrating. Like I can sit here and talk on stream and just like talk as I without scripting stuff, but as soon as I have something to say, like I can't talk right. I just can't do it. And it's really frustrating. So I still have that crap to deal with. What's that camera stand? Well, this is just like a cheap ass Neewer mic boom, and this is just like this would have like a little like desk lamp on it. That's all this is. A little desk lamp that I modified to have my what is this? What are these cameras? The N30? Yeah, the N30Es. Just has a little camera on here. But it's all right. I need to come up with something slightly different. It's a little pain in the ass to move around, but the base, yeah, it's just a lamp, man. It's just like a little desk lamp. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great, Gusner, but it doesn't work out, unfortunately. There's some things you can trick yourself on. That is not one for me, apparently. Bajorn, you need to stream. Well, the problem is like you need to script videos. Like if you want them to be concise, you need to basically script them. There's really no way around it. Because if you just kind of talk, you're going to meander and you're going to lose focus, or I do anyway. But no, it's tough. Like I'll probably get better at it as time goes, but it's just, I think it's always going to be a struggle for me. It just kind of is what it is. I try not to get like too upset about it, but how often do I shave my head? Not often enough. I know there's some guys that keep it this short that shave it like every day, but I don't know, like twice a week. Play a stream. Yeah. But no, like I said, ever since I did that little vlog and kind of changed gears mentally about how I'm like approaching YouTube, that helped a little bit. So like it helped a little bit. I don't know. It's funny. Like brains are weird. People are weird. Human beings are weird. It's weird how like you can change your perspective on things and it kind of does have like a tangible effect on the way things go, but I don't know. If we do, hopefully sometime here in the future, we'll do one of the Friday night hangout streams and kind of devote it to YouTube and stuff. And if we ever do that, like I'll talk more about it, but I've blabbed to you guys about it quite a few times. He doesn't in the summer, it burns away. Yeah. Man, you're definitely like not protected out in the weather when it's sunny with the bald head. But yeah, it's just like the first one of the first nice days of this year, I got a pretty bad sunburn because I didn't really think about it. I didn't wear sunscreen. You've got to wear sunscreen when you're walking outside with this thing. But all right, guys, I don't want this to hit 3 hours, and we're creeping up there. You started a loin print? Is that a typo? I'm assuming that was supposed to be lion. It does save a lot on shampoo. It also saves a lot on getting your freaking hair cut. Like, I haven't paid someone to cut my hair for, like, 18 years. Think of the savings there. Holy crap. Like 10 to 15 bucks a pop, like, every once in a while. Yeah, that adds up quick. But, yeah, guys, I'm gonna cut this off before we get too damn long here. We're kind of meandering. But, yeah, I don't know if anybody has any idea what the hell is wrong with this. Maybe it's, I don't know. Like I said, I do think it is potentially fixable in the firmware if you'd slow the retraction speed down for the filament eject. I think that would help a lot, but I don't know. That's a whole nother project. But as always, you're 43 and you have full hair. Well, screw you, man. I started losing my hair in like 10th grade. I started balding in high school. That's not a fun experience. I had the retreating hairline. But yeah, thanks guys. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with me like usual. As always, like the streams are going to be a staple for this channel for the foreseeable future. So every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard, whatever that ends up being in your time zone, we will be here. We will be doing stuff, and we will be chatting with each other. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for talking to me. Makes my days pass quicker than they otherwise would. Anybody that hasn't checked it out, check out Earl's stuff. He's got a lot of cool projects. And hopefully sometime this year, I don't know what your timeline is, Earl, but hopefully sometime soon here, Earl's terrain Kickstarter will come up, because I'm really looking forward to participating in that. He's got some really cool files. So we can all look forward to that. And yeah, if anybody has any idea what the hell's going on with this, drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Be nice to fix it, because I think there are some other people that have this problem, so it'd be nice to be able to fix that for them. But yeah, I'll see you guys Thursday. Video tomorrow, hopefully. The Dungeoneering series will be every Friday. I'm going to do my damnedest to keep that consistent too, so look for those videos on Friday. And, of course, the Community Hangout stream will be on Friday. As soon as I have some info on that, I'll update you. You can also, I'll link it in the description here whenever this video comes back up after processing. But also be sure to check out the Friday, what is it? The Friday 3D Printing Community Hangout that, again, for the foreseeable future, will be every Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. Bunch of us YouTubers here in the 3D printing community will be getting together in a hangout and just chatting about various topics and stuff. And most of those have been a lot of fun, so check that out if you're interested. But I will see all you guys next time. Peace.